And so the neat thing about relationship, I love this. It really is a ship of principles. Right?
Yeah.
I love that. It's good. A boat, no, is a ship of principles.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you get the principles in your relationship, it functions well. And this is weird, but this past summer, was it this past summer?
I don't know what
Or
we're
last
talking
summer,
about.
when we went on the boat, we took all the kids. We went to Florida. When was
no,
that?
that was when Kai turned 13. So,
So a couple years ago. And like in my 20s, I never dealt with really seasickness. I went out on a boat a few times. Our honeymoon, we was good. I didn't feel.
Yeah.
But the last couple times we've been on the boat, our brother felt a little seasick.
It does depend on the size of the boat, which is also interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Hold that thought.
Mm-hmm.
But I went fishing with a good friend of mine. Shout out to Matt Forte. And we went deep sea fishing. And I had to sit at the bottom of the boat and fall asleep. I took Dramamine. And I was bugging, right?
I don't remember that part.
Yeah,
You just
I
had a
was
great
tripping.
trip.
It was good, but for a hot minute, I was tripping. But the principle was in that, even though I was tripping, it was wavy, it was bumpy, I still trusted the captain. Like just because I was experiencing seasickness in my personal space, the boat was still safe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And even
you trusted the anchor.
Yeah, well,
We've got to stay in our
yeah,
one.
but my point is
He's
saying
the
that
captain. He's
exactly.
the anchor.
He's
I know.
not
I
just
know
the
that.
anchor.
I
He's
know
also
that.
the captain because the captain knows where the anchor at. He's not just gonna throw an anchor out anywhere, right? He knows where the anchor. So I just say in that example
So
is
maybe God is it. Yeah.
yeah, and even though you could be facing personal things
Yeah.
in your relationship, you still got a captain that's steering you the right way.
I just want to know who the Holy Spirit is in this.
You know what I mean?
So God's the captain. Jesus is the anchor.
Who the Holy Spirit?
Yeah.
But he's everything, man.
He's
He
the
in
life
that.
preserver.
That's good.
We're getting ahead of our relationships though, 1 week at a time.
But I don't know if you kept that thought that I told you to hold on to, but I was just thinking of that in my little moment of not really feeling well. I still felt safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the dude was legit. He had been doing it for like 40 years.
Because the anchor was in the right place.
And the anchor was in the right place.
We're going to get the anchor. We're going to really
In
get
here
that
somewhere.
metaphor straightened out. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying the size of the relationship, which I guess you would kind of measure that in years and that kind of longevity.
Yeah.
But we were in a smaller boat. We were in a boat that only sat 6 people plus the captain.
Oh, that's true.
So multiple of you did not feel well. I felt fine. You guys got to my head a little bit because I was like, wait, should I also feel nauseous? But on our cruise, that's a giant ship.
Yeah.
Right? So once you've had some time in it and you've spent time and you've put in the work and you've navigated this thing for a minute, it does feel different when a storm comes or when the waves come.
That's true.
Because it doesn't feel the same. Like when we argue now, it is totally different. The Mackenzies. I'm going to find out. I'm going to start just shouting out random people's names and see if you actually listen because you're supposed to be our best friends.
That's
I'm just going to tell you that. I'm just kidding. But this couple watched us go through storms. I wouldn't say they were real life storms. Just,
there
we
was
did
storms
weather
enough.
some real things.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it would be ridiculous things and we would have like terrible arguments.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning. That was the little boat.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah.
Now we're in a place where this big ship, I mean, for instance, we just had something right now and you had to apologize so that we could move on, right? I'm just kidding.
Why should you be trying to front me, y'all? You feel me?
I'm totally kidding. It was silly and really over nothing, but it was the fact of we can just move on easier. We know how to talk to one another. We know we really do believe the best about one another. Like once you start getting that ship filled with the principles, right, it makes it easier to understand and process and work through.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, honestly, it's a decision. Like at the end of the day,
it's a choice.
Does it really matter?
This podcast is now being called The Choice. On the 30th episode, I'm changing it.
No,
Covenant Culture, The Choice.
No, that might be an episode. We ain't changing the name, dog. But I love that verse. He said he's an anchor for our soul.
Yeah.
So he's not just an anchor for our spirit. He's an anchor for our soul, right? Which means our mind, will, and emotions, which really that's the operating center for relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time when we respond to relationship, it's from the place of our emotions,
Yeah.
right? It's a place from what we've been meditating on, how we've been thinking.
Yeah.
Some arguments come because you've been meditating on the wrong thing all day. Like the one thing he didn't do by taking out the garbage before going to work is the thing you thought about all day when he got home.
Because you could smell it all day.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Like out of everything that he did
Just
do.
kidding. That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that one thing in
Yeah.
your mind, we let the anchor up,
Mhm.
or we didn't anchor in the right space.
Mhm.
We may be anchored in a shallow ground. You know, we don't anchor shallow, especially if you're in a big boat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So where we anchor in our thoughts, where
Yeah.
do we anchor them? Is it in the word? Is it for a mentor?
And our emotions.
Where we anchor our emotions. Like, how do we feel or truly express our feelings to one another?
Right.